I'm not sure if you're a multiple 7 or 8 or 10-figure business owner.
Well, I can answer these questions if you like.
Maybe you can clarify that in a moment.
Yeah.
But I just wonder, what were the strategies or the character traits or the habits that you credit with your rise to such a level of success?
Okay, yeah, so I think probably what would be helpful is I could cover a couple of things here. One would be my experience through my own pursuit and journey. But I think what's unique about my situation is literally the thousands of aspiring entrepreneurs that I've worked with, speaking on the speaking circuits, the entrepreneurial circuit, being surrounded by different cultures, different mentalities, people with different goals, different desires. And I think, when I look at mentorship and being able to give guidance and advice, there's a lot of compelling components to my own story, but success leaves clues. And what I've found is that what's enabled me to become, I think, more of an impactful, powerful mentor is this idea of being able to look at the commonalities within large groups of diverse people and then spotting those individual traits or stepping stones or ideas or execution that I see time and time again leads to high levels of success. So we'll kind of start with myself. So let's first talk money. People, because often the way that I talk around finances and being in it for the right reasons and making sure you've got a strong why, wonder if I'm financially motivated. And I am. I always have been, and I still am. I think that your perspective changes a lot around money once you have enough of it, and that's a different number for everybody. For me, I started making consistently a net 30 grand a month. I stopped really needing much more than that. Some it's 100, some it's 10. Everybody has their number. It can depend on where you live, where you are in the world. And so, you can often hear people say money doesn't make you happy or don't pursue this and that and the other. But again, through my own journey and through the commonalities of people that I see succeed in entrepreneurship, generally speaking, there is that desire for winning financially. And for me, that was the early motivator that got me thinking, freedom, lifestyle, but like a lot of people, when you start out, you tend to associate that amount of money solves all of these problems. Well, if I've got 30 grand a month, I am free, which we know is not true. Everybody knows that. There's people that are making that and a lot more that aren't free and that they're working in careers or jobs. But that's what my initial motivator was. What I think separated me from those that I was surrounded by, we often start in the entrepreneurial journey and journeys at the same time, and I was at seminars and events and investing in myself, was that there's this mentality with a lot of people to look for shiny objects. And for whatever reason, and I can't pinpoint it the way that I would mentor my students today, for me, but for some reason I stuck at it. Partly was luck, and I'll tell you why. I invested in the right online courses. I invested and found mentors that I just deeply resonated with. I can still look back with nothing but tremendous amounts of gratitude for this random guy, Bradley Weinman, that I stumbled across his little ebook and read his book, and then I joined. It wasn't webinars, it was teleseminars, and he just gave bits of wisdom that deeply resonated, that caused me to continue when the times were tough, when things weren't going well. If there was ever a time that I felt like giving up or not following through, get on the call, transparently speak about what I'm struggling with, where my mindset is at. And he always had wisdom. He always had an answer that was not rocket science, it wasn't groundbreaking, but it was trusted wisdom from somebody that had been there and done that. And this is why I'm so sold on community, because having a guide, a mentor, is tremendous. But when you compound that with a cohort of people and you surround yourself with others that are on the same journey, it's only like one word of wisdom or one pat on the back or one, hey, keep going, that is required to get you through those early stages that not many people have. You know, most people that are entrepreneurial minded, if you want it done right, do it by yourself. You know, if you're going to make this happen, it's all on me. And yeah, it is your personal responsibility, radical responsibility to go ahead and succeed, but that doesn't mean that we haven't got the need to lean on others and share our reality. And it's tough, you know. If you're coming out of the business world, and I've especially found this with people that are coming out of succinct corporate organizations where they've got systems and processes and people for all of the different roles, and you come out of that environment into this world where you're on your own. Even if you are a lone ranger and you're good in your own company like I am, it's very easy to underestimate the importance of surrounding yourself with go-getters, just people with, you know, that I'm not going to give up, I'm going to finish what I start mentality. And as we know, in life, in everything, that's the smaller percentile of people. So going full circle, avoiding shiny objects is really important, and you generally do that by stumbling across, first of all, good people, and then secondly, taking again that responsibility to find the right path for you that's compelling enough that it's worth the effort, it's worth the work. So you're going to the point of raising up to, you know, multi-millionaire and, you know, making a ton of money. Making a lot of money in a leveraged way is way easier than the startup phase. So you must have met wealthy people and thought they're really not that different to me. Or, you know, you meet the multi-millionaire or even the billionaire and you're like, he's pretty normal. She's pretty regular in what they do. The fascinating thing is, this is an important point I'll make around this, is that very few mentors in the online business world, as an example, because that's what will keep it relevant, stick around working with newbies. And the reason being is that it's very easy, very, very easy to take somebody making 50,000 a month to 100,000 a month. They don't moan, they don't complain, there's very little baggage, you don't have the emotional woes, you don't have the ups, the downs, the dramas, I don't know how to do all of the basics. And so, you know, we are surrounded, generally speaking, as aspiring entrepreneurs in today's modern social media internet world, with a lot of the sort of people that are really walking the walk just say, hey, do you know what, I don't really need to help this sector, which comes with a lot of baggage. I'm just going to help people go from 50 to 100 or 1 million to 10 million. It's a lot easier. All of my friends that started at my time that have gone on to be mentors in the communities, the stages that I used to speak from, have all made that decision. And they say to me, they literally say, you're crazy. Like, why are you still sticking around, like helping people from the ground up, where they want a lot for not a lot of investment, whether that's their time, their energy, their effort, their money. I've experimented with that, and it gives me zero excitement or enthusiasm to help somebody go from 50 to 100, because look, they're going to do it with or without me. Because if you get to 50, you can get to 100 or whatever that number is. I'm just using numbers as an example. So I want to make this as useful as possible. So sorry for sort of not interjecting or conversating, but the question's really important around just creating success for yourself. So let's move away from me for a minute. Got a good course, got a great mentor, invested in myself. There was some luck involved, surrounded myself with just really good people at the right time, right place. But you do create your own luck. You do your own due diligence, you do your own research, you find the right course, you find the right ebook, there's proactivity in that. What I think is not discussed anywhere near enough in mainstream business and entrepreneurship and everything else is that my guess would be 5% of society will follow through on their dream of being an entrepreneur or creating financial success based on the motivation of money. And that 5% does exist, and I believe that a lot of the business leaders that are in the world, that write the books, that do the courses, that have the channels, often are those 5%. I mean, I'm not really want to drop names, but I'd say a Grant Cardone type character is this. They're so motivated by the money that nothing will stop them. because money is the motivator, and it's like that's a very easy measurement of success because it's numerical. It's a number. I mean, if I say to you, what is success, and somebody says financial, well, how do you measure it? Money in the bank. Very easy to quantify. If somebody says, well, success is all of these other things, and success is meaning, and success is like freedom, and success is, it's not so easy to quantify if you're making progress or not compared to the measurement of cash. And so if we were to say, I'm right, and that 5% of people are motivated enough to do what it takes by the money, well, what happens to the 95% of people that aren't? Well, they fall into shiny objects. They're distracted, they look for the next quick thing. And unfortunately, many never realize that true success generally will come from pursuing meaningful goals over an extended period of time, where you get very good at assessing, well, what is it I want? Why do I want it? How do I want to operate in my life? What is the right business model for me? What don't I want to do? What am I willing to do? So there's all of these, and I could just literally reel off all of these things that are important. But if somebody, and this is the belief of Launch You, is willing to commit to a year of learning how to set goals, pursue goals, figure out what's really meaningful, and actually wake up every single day in pursuit of something far greater than just the numerical measurement of finances. What happens is there's a tipping point where you get a combination of belief, excitement, enthusiasm, and a North Star that's, hang on a minute, like, okay, life's a bit stressful and money's not amazing at the moment, I don't like my job, but I'm really starting to get attached to this North Star that if it takes me 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, I'll do whatever it takes. And so if you're not in that 5% of pure money motivated, this idea of actually really figuring out what it is you want, how you're going to get there, what that roadmap is going to look like, is critical, because otherwise you will just keep jumping and jumping and jumping. How many people are in a career and they say, oh, I liked it at first, I've had enough. And then what they do is they take the same job for another company, another brand, a little bit more money. And then they get the excitement, the enthusiasm, they meet the new people. And then a year down the line, they're like, I'm exactly where I was before. Got the extra money, got with the bigger brand, the better company, but I'm literally exactly where I was, and often worse. More money, more responsibility. More money, more commute maybe. More money, whatever else it is, but they're pursuing things that aren't actually aligned with what they're really aiming for. So success is subjective. If we're talking financial, I would say you have to first address, are you in the 5% that will do whatever it takes because money is enough to learn the new skill, to build the website? Let's look at a really concrete example. You go into an online program and then you've got no technical experience, website experience, and you're told, hey, you need to build a website. And you've got the person that's 5% motivated by money will literally sit through the videos, build the website, pull their hair out, go grey early, do whatever it takes, and they will get their website up and running. The 95% that aren't will hit a hurdle, they'll get frustrated, the video will be out of date, I'm going to give up, throw their toys out the pram, whatever else. And why? Because there's not a North Star that's compelling enough to sit through the Facebook marketing training, the website building training. So everything changes, your spirit changes, your motivation changes when you start to align with your North Star. And here's where I'm going to start to bring this down to earth. You don't need a why till you cry. It is not, we always talk in business how important it is to have a big why, to know why you're doing what you're doing, or to have a purpose that is bigger than yourself. And there's truth to that. But here's the biggest reality that I've learned with mentoring thousands of people. Your purpose in life and your why, if you want to actually set yourself on the track of success, is actually a very me-centric reality. Why am I on this earth? What is my purpose? Is what do I find fun? What do I enjoy? What lights me up? What don't I want to do? How do I want to spend my days? How do I want to be as a grandfather? How do I want to be as a as a daughter? How do I want to be as a parent? And as you start to create this reality of what your ideal day would look like, and you get real meaning behind what that looks, and you start pursuing that today, doing more of the things that are important to you, you lead by example in life. And we're in a modern era where you can literally make millions leading by example. Why? Because that's what a modern day entrepreneur, influencer, newsletter writer, email creator is they're leading by example. Here's some things to share with you that I think might be valuable lessons, and it can be purely the content based on pursuing something important. So let's bring it again tangible. You love nature and you have a passion for photography, and you've spent 6 months learning some basic digital skills, blogging, maybe setting up a YouTube channel, maybe having an Instagram handle or a Twitter or whatever else. And you decide that, I want to be self-reliant, I want to be an entrepreneur. And today I'm going to spend the first half of the day going out in nature with my camera, doing some photography. And we're going to make up a really fictitious story here. And you're out doing your photography and you bump into another photographer whilst you're out doing what you love. And you get speaking, and he's a full-time photographer. And he says, I've got a little store in Evora where people come in, tourists come in, and they find my prints. And I've got, 50 butterfly types, and I've got lots of plants and flowers and architecture, different categories, and people come into this little boutique store that I've got, and every day I sell a few pictures. And you get into conversation, he says, I'm expanding, I want to do more wildlife photography, I want to do Portugal and Africa. And you, as somebody who has started to open up your eyes to modern, wealthy ways, starts to say, well, your prints are amazing. Like, I'm just a newbie. These are far more than what I would ever do. Have you thought about doing an online store or selling through social? No, I haven't thought about that. I wouldn't even know where to start. Okay, well, would you mind if I started publishing some of your photography on an Instagram? Could I interview you for YouTube? Could we look at maybe some of the skills that I've got, looking at doing some JVs? And so you spend a year in the mindset that opportunity is everywhere, and you pursue your own meaningful goals and purpose. The idea that's going to set you free will arrive. Yeah, you can earn while you learn, you can do affiliate marketing. It's one of the most incredible things we do here at Launch You. Why not hone your skills for 1, 2, 3, 5 years so that you're not an aspiring entrepreneur, you're an entrepreneur, an affiliate marketer, but you are going to have an air of confidence in you within 1 to 5 years. 5 years, probably the max, where any idea that is aligned with how you want to spend your time, your life, and do the things that you want to do, you will have the capability, the know-how to turn it into a business. And so if you imagine this North Star is not how do I save the planet, not how do I impact and feed hungry children, or some altruistic idea. It's just, how can I do more of who I really am? And then you align that with modern day skills. We've never lived in times of more possibility than today. Never has it been possible to go randomly bump into a guy with a photography boutique and genuinely turn it into a 6-figure photography print business, where you could do we're gonna do a Portugal, Africa, wildlife, butterfly, whatever it is, monthly subscription where people can pay a monthly fee and we ship out the prints of the month. Because I get now that actually there's technology we can leverage, WordPress plugins, Shopify. I know how to outsource for $5 an hour. So people get stuck in this world of how, and they lose themselves because they're treating it like the education system we were brought up in, which is entirely broken, which is this idea that here's 30 children in a classroom, and we've had this industrial revolution. And through this industrial revolution, we have all of these job titles within all of these organizations: accountant, salesperson, administrator. And so we're going to create a schooling system that is going to turn these little children into cogs. And we're going to chip away, and we're going to carve away, and we're going to turn them so they can go and fit into somebody else's dream. And they're going to go and fit in that vision over there. And so people have become dependent on this idea that they have to be a fit for somebody else's dream, somebody else's vision, the corporate entity. And the modern world is enabling us to undo all of that and become a lot more true to ourselves from a point of view of, I don't want to be carved out by a system. I want to flourish and be my own cog and create my own machine and partner with other individuals that are aligned with what it is that I'm really after. So how do you get there? You get there through open-mindedness, you get there through community, mentorship, skill sets, and above all, through the confidence of pursuing new ways of thinking and new skills and learning basic digital skills. You eradicate this idea that we're dependent on something outside of ourselves, and opportunity is all over the place. When individuals come on with our prepare coaches in Launch You, the early phase coaches, if you were to speak to our prepare coaches and say, what is the number one thing you're finding yourself having to do with these aspiring entrepreneurs, what they would say is grab them by the scruff of the neck and pull them back and say, you're not ready to launch. You're not ready for a website. You're not ready for YouTube ads. You're not ready for Facebook ads, because nothing that you're sharing is compelling enough for us to believe that you're actually ready to do what it's going to take to succeed. If you go into the modern world and you give a genuine 12 months to lay foundations and learn some basic new skills, you can find yourself arriving at a place where the world has a lot more colour and opportunity than what the mass majority of society is seeing. But it's not a 12 weeks to six-figure program, or a 6 weeks to six figures, or a 7 weeks to seven figures world that we tend to live in. And so, there's a multitude of components, but this is what we'll finish up on. You pursue your life purpose by going for those meaningful goals. And then you align that with skill set and mastery. What you're effectively doing is creating a wake of value by leading by example. And what I mean by that is, this guy's different, this woman's different. Like, I'm around them and they have meaning in what they do. They have it's not that they've got millions in the bank or they have the nicer car. These are the material things that we see. It's an energetic thing that draws people to the rarity of human beings that lead by example, that are truly living a life of meaning and purpose. And so my wisdom around that would be, forget the altruistic, big picture, how I'm going to solve the world's problems. Start with you and start leading by example, and just literally watch the wake of opportunity that comes of it. Our top affiliates in Launch You, previous companies is even more so as we had longer to mature. We're a year in. What happens is there's a tipping point where people go from affiliates to genuine ambassadors. I'm not talking about paying a fee or a website title. The difference between an affiliate and what we classify as an ambassador is that what they realize is that this is the vehicle where I get to express myself aligned with the Launch You mission and monetize literally being me, pursuing my goals, dreams and aspirations. And I can go and live my day exactly as I want today and create a compelling email broadcast or a video or a message that is so deeply aligned with how I've progressed from where I was a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago to where I am today, and with pure authenticity but also authority recommend this environment to learn and get mastery in. And so the North Star isn't I help people start online businesses. the North Star is that like the old system and the traditional way of thinking is so broken, I get to just go on my motocross bike, go for hikes, spend more time with my kids, and come up with content, stories and insights to help people realize, hey, you might want to get off this Titanic economy that's going away, and take responsibility to learn some new things that actually not only is going to make you relevant, but is going to give you the opportunity to pursue the most meaningful life you could ever possibly imagine. And there's a tipping point, and it's not normally 6 months or a year, it's normally 2 or 3 years before people actually have that capability to make that transition of it being less transactional. And this is just one example. I see this in all businesses where there's this sort of shift in meaning. And it's not what content ideas am I going to come up with today, or how can I sell more. It's how I wake up every day. Like, I've got a really important mission to pursue, and the rest of it comes, very natural. So this is a lot of off the beaten track, but we have to be real about success isn't 6 steps. It's not the same for everybody, but the commonality of coaching with thousands of people is what I said. 5% the money is enough, 95% of people the money isn't enough. And so unless they address like something to aim for that is truly meaningful, then they'll keep jumping from job to job, company to company, business idea to business idea, offer to offer. And it doesn't need to be that tedious or hard or tiring or exhausting. And this really is the final point I'd make. So I mentioned pursuing your own sort of me-centric approach to life. Walking, hiking, nature, photography, running, athletics, motocross, bike. Do more of that. Lead by example, do more of that. And you will have more ideas, you'll have more of a compelling story to tell by simply leading by example. What's going to happen is there's going to come a time where you're pursuing health and your wealth and your inner self and your social life, and everything is upgrading. And there's going to be one idea that becomes your true calling. So for me, wealth, business, entrepreneurship that's what podcasts I listen to. That's how I spent my time driving up here. I wasn't watching cricket or listening to cricket on the radio, or like, for me, it's business, it's entrepreneurship, it's finances, it's investing. So my calling is now me leading by example, building, doing, creating, and that creates a whole wake of value, which is Launch You. That is what Launch You is. Launch You is simply that wake of value of me doing what I would be doing anyway. And so, don't put too much pressure within the first 1, 2, and I know people don't like to hear this, 3 years of knowing the idea. The idea will be the byproduct of more meaning and more time, wise time spent in meaning.